Hi, I'm Mike Valentine, and I'm here to talk to you about bully defense tools. I created this program as a resource for kids, parents, and teachers. It was in reaction to um, a child coming up to me and telling me that my child was bullying them. I was shocked, and I asked them what my son had done. He told me that my son had gone up to him and went and basically said, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, what happened then? And he said, well, he came back again and said, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, what happened then? And he said, well, I told him to stop and he went away. I asked him what else happened. He said, nothing. Then I asked, well, what does blah, blah, blah mean? What was he saying? And he said, oh, he was literally saying blah, blah, blah. So that made me realize that the boy really didn't know what bullying is. He was getting confused the concept of bugging and bullying. So I kind of looked back at my days in school, and I realized that no one really told me about bullying. I didn't know what to do if someone did bully me. It was a topic that everyone said you shouldn't do, but no one really, really explicitly said in kid terms what bullying is. And that's what we do. Now, I'm a martial arts school owner. I've had a dojo for about 20 years now, and I've taught thousands and thousands of kids. However, I mainly taught them punching and kicking and jujitsu and wrestling and things like that. But to be honest, what do they really need is a guideline for how to interact with their peers in a way that allows them to harness their strength. And that's what the Bully Defense Tools is about. In a way, it helps the conversation for the parent to be able to deal with that really difficult day when their child comes home and says, "Hey, this person, my peer, my this guy in my class, this girl in my class is bullying me. What should I do?" And that's where this comes in. So you start off where it says start. And you just bring it over to here. And it goes to how to start using bully defense tools. Now, this is a great program for parents and it's mainly geared for parents. However, it's also an awesome curriculum for elementary schools and martial art academies. We've been using this for several years and we've had so many success stories that we decided to put this out on the web for free to help everyone. So, for parents, you should read through the tool section. We wanted to make them tools because we want them to be able to see the tools in their mind. And when you have a visual image, it kind of makes things more powerful, especially for a child. So a parent should sit down, look at our website, look at the different tools, see how it applies, and most importantly, see if it matches the principles and values of your family. And if it does, then you can talk to your kids about them, obviously. Once you understand what to do as far as the different tool sets, you sit down with your child and you listen to them and really hear what's happening. Once you feel like your child's been heard, then you'll open up the tool section and start to go down the list. So that's what we're going to do right here. So it shows how to begin and talks about it, but for the most part, you really go to the different tools. And we made them in 3 different categories. We have for the target, for the bully, and for the upstander. Now we're just going to work on the target right now. This website is a work in progress, so we're working on it very, very quickly. But right now we've focused on the first part for the target, for the person being bullied. And there are 4 different tools. There's a bully analyzer, because a lot of kids don't know the difference between bugging and bullying. There's the bug stopper, where you figure out how to deal with that person that's bugging you, because it's important. Because very often, when somebody feels bugged by another person, all of a sudden they get so irritated, then they might do a behavior they wouldn't ordinarily, which is they might become a bully and bully that person that's bugging them. Another thing, then we have what's called the bully stamp, where you really learn how to have a verbal boundary, and in a sense a warning, but it's a way to own your strength, because you're going to stand with the bully, look at the person, and you're going through a series of steps which let them know that you're not a victim. Lastly, there's the frenemy tester, because very often it's hard to figure whether your friend is a friend or an enemy. So, anyway, a parent would go through each and every one of these uh, tool sets, make sure the child understands it, and the most important thing is they have to understand it from a child's point of view. And the way to really figure that out is if they can role play it. So what you would do is you would take the bully analyzer, figure, and let's just click on that right here. Okay, it goes on telling what bullying is and what bugging is. Question is, the first question you ask, the bully analyzer asks you, is this person being hurtful, physically or mentally? Or is this person annoying like a bug flying around your head? Obviously, he's being hurtful, they're a bully. If they're annoying you, they're bugging you. Is this person trying to have power over you? Because that's part of the dynamics of bullying. Is this person doing it again and again? Bullying is repetitive. They do it again and again and again. So then what happens is we go to the next section, and you can have your child look at this with you as you're talking with them. And then we go on to specifics. Bullying. Again, it repeats that bullying is a repetitive action. It's hurtful, and people want to have power of you. It talks about mean jokes and teasing and exclusion from groups, cutting in line, spreading rumors. But it's really important that your child knows it's not just one time someone does a mean joke at you or one time they exclude you from groups. It's somebody that's doing it day in and day out and day in and day out, and they're trying to boss you around and have power over you. Bugging is something totally different. Bugging is when another kid is doing something annoying. So it talks about, it's interesting what bugs people. The person could bump into you by accident. They might always want to play their games. But, some people get bugged by different things, like the person's different than you and it just bugs you. Or a person makes noises that you can't get on your nerves. So we have two different tools here, the bully stamp and the bug stamp. Now I'm going to go to the bully stamp first because it's the most important. The bully stamp is very simple. It's a warning. But by looking at the bullying and saying stop in a strong authoritative voice, okay, you're gaining your power back. The next thing you do is you need to label the action the person's doing to you. So you say, I feel like I'm being bullied, and that's the bully stamp, and you're putting it on the person. Now you're not calling them, well, you're being a bully, because the person who's bullying them might just say, no, I'm not. Whereas if you say, I feel like you're bullying me, you can't really say that. The next thing you have is an ultimatum, your warning. You say, if you don't stop, I'm telling, then you say your teacher's name. Now, the last thing we talk about in this is that bullies will yammer. And yammering is, they'll say something like, you're such a tattletale, or you're so sensitive. Either way, you repeat the ultimatum. If you don't stop, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. And you have to say it in a strong voice. Okay? Now, it's important that the kids understand why they need to use the bully stamp or why they need to stand up to the bully. Because you find your power within yourself. It makes the bully realize that you're not a good target. They're going to move on because they're craving being able to bully someone else. And if you're not a good target, they'll just find someone else that's a better target. You're giving the bully a warning. So you're not telling on them right now. In a sense, by you being powerful and standing up to them, you're actually not getting them in trouble. You're showing other bullies that you're not a good target as well. So if you're strong to one person, then the other kids that have the propensity for bullying will not go after you either. Okay. So what if this guy is just too scary? Or what if you think he's unbalanced? Or what do you think you're just sure he's going to hit you? And then no matter what, you need to be able to communicate this to an adult. And that's what we have as the communicator, which is another tool. So we're going to click on the can here. And it talks about how you talk to your parents or how you talk to the teachers. And what we say is when your problems are too big, it's time to talk to your parent or teacher. And don't be embarrassed. Your mom or dad probably went through the same things. And when adults have problems, we call the police. When kids have troubles, it's time to talk to your mom, dad, or teacher. Now we talk about how to talk about this. You have to be truthful because it's easy to stretch things out, but don't. Because if you don't, it's hard for people to believe you. You have to focus on the action. What is this person doing? Because remember, you could say this, a bully is just a normal person, a human being who's acting like a bully. Bullying is a verb, okay? So we have to remember that this person, if he stops bullying you, isn't a bully any longer. Don't say mean things about the bully, even if you're hurt. You just have to focus on the actions. If you have a friend who witnessed the bully behavior, let the teacher know. Don't hold it in. The bully wins when you're silent. Now, people sometimes say, and then after you finish this, you go back to your tool set. Now, people sometimes say, well, after you interact with a person, the bully didn't stop. Well, you tried at first to be strong yourself and give them a warning, but it's time to now let adults take over and do what they need to do to keep you safe and other children safe as well. And frankly, if the bully doesn't change, then his life might go in a bad place as well. And in a sense, you're helping the bully be a better person. Now, once you've done that, we're gone back to um, the uh, the different bully defense tools right here. And I'm going to go to the bug stopper. So right from here, the bug stopper basically says this: someone's bugging you. How do you react to the person bugging you? Are you going to do it with anger? Are you going to yell at them? Are you going to tease the person? Or are you going to really think about a few important things? And the bug stopper is this: we want two questions. The first question is, can this person help it? Now, you know, if a person is bald and you look at that person, I say this because, quite frankly, I'm bald. So it's an easy example for people to understand, especially when I give talks at schools. I say, well, if say like it really bugs you, this person's bald, it really bugs you. Look at that person. Can that person help it? And if they can't help it, then maybe you should make a big deal about it. If they can't help it, then telling them to stop won't help. Regardless of the outcome, do not let someone else's actions or how they are control you. Especially don't all of a sudden turn into a bully yourself or say nasty things. You want to control yourself. Now, if you can't control yourself, you go back to the communicator again. And as we remember, we click the can again, and again we talk to our parents and we talk about the specific action that might be bothering you that this person does. Because maybe you need a little help dealing with how to deal with somebody that bugs you. And adults are there to help with that as well. So, anyway, let's go back to the bug stopper. Well, what if this person can help it and it's a big deal? Well, then you need to tell them to stop. But how you tell them to stop is important. Now, the idea is you want to use a calm voice. Okay? Let's have an example. You would basically say, please stop. Use a pleasant voice. An example would be like, please stop whistling. I'm having trouble concentrating. If they say okay, then you stop and say thank you. But again, you have to remember, sometimes it doesn't work that way. You don't want someone's actions controlling you. So there's an old saying, keep calm and carry on. And the idea is, no matter what the outcome, you're going to be strong by keeping your behavior in check and breathe if you need to and move on with your day. So we're going to go back to the tools again. Okay. So we've talked about that. We talked about bullying and bugging. Now we've talked about the bully stamp. Now we're going to lastly talk about the frenemy tester. So I'm going to click on the frenemy tester. Frenemies are tough. I mean, they're tough because it's hard to figure out. Sometimes they act like friends. Sometimes they do really mean things. Sometimes they try to have power over you, just like a bully. So what we say is the frenemy test is this. And this is what we tell people to do when a person's being a frenemy or do actions that are just inappropriate. Like they never, like an example of what a frenemy would do is they never really appreciate anything accomplishment you do. Every time you tell them that something nice happened, they'll usually compare themselves and say something better, like, well, that's okay, but I'm way better at you than this. Or they'll do backhanded compliments that still are kind of mean. Or they'll just kind of do bullying things, Either way, this is our frenemy test. It's three parts. One, you want to affirm the friendship. Now, what do you mean by affirm the friendship? You want to basically say, hey, Johnny, you're my friend. Okay? I like you. You're important to me. Then you say it like it is. But you know what? You're excluding and gossiping about me. Then you tell them how you feel. That makes me feel awful. Now, how they respond to you tells you whether they're a friend or not. If they apologize and change, then you're a friend. If they say you're being sensitive and getting mad at you, they're not really your friend. So, those are some things that you would do. And then you'd have to think about, well, maybe I need to not hang out with this person. Maybe I need to change my group of friends. Or you might even need to someday use the bully stamp and be strong and stand up to them. Anyway, so this is the first part of the bully stamp. Of our bully defense tools, and the bully stamp's one of the main components, one of the most important. And it's a guideline, but the most important thing is that the kids need to be able to say this, okay? And it needs to be simple, and the best way to do this is to role play the situations and keep it simple. The less things they have to think about as far as the less steps they do, the clearer it's going to be. So, one of the things we think is a really good idea is once they've got a role play down, is to videotape it. If you have an iPhone or an iPad or any other device, and have them video the actual role play, especially when they really have it down, and let them see how strong they are on film. And, and that way they get a different mental picture of themselves and also praise that strength. And from again, that'll help as well. So anyway, this is our bully defense tools. It is a work in progress, and we're going to be working throughout the next few weeks to kind of release different parts of it. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, you can email us at practicalmartialarts@yahoo.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. My name is Mike Valentine. I'm the owner and operator of Practical Martial Arts, and I'm a dad who's got two great sons, a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. Thank you so much and have a great day.